mean, I was a church planner. I was a pastor for a while, so I kind of can feel this for them. One is that you aren't alone, and there's probably a bunch of other pastors in your city, probably even in your blocks, like within where you are, that I think would be super helpful to sit down and meet with. And again, with churches, we're like territorial and we're like afraid to meet with them, or that we're gonna somehow steal their congregation or whatever is going on in those thoughts. But to meet with other pastors in the city on a regular basis and actually get to talk about, this, to realize you're not alone in the things that you're dealing with, especially in today's day and age, is super important. Two, I think that there's a lot of things that I didn't realize I didn't need to recreate the wheel on when I was, leading in a church. There are a ton of resources out there that can be super helpful. BibleProject's one of them, but there's lots like Alpha and lots of other ministries that are doing incredible work that can come alongside the work that you're doing to help in that way. And then just from the outside looking in, how do you create a safe place for questions in your church? I think, and this is where Alpha does a really, really good job, but even beyond that, I think that's the part that this generation is really, really looking for. And so a place of vulnerability from the stage, a place of not always having the answers, an ability to show that you have questions too. I think those are all things that are going to free up. It freed me up, I know, when I had an older pastor tell me, like, you do not have to have all the answers. Like, you actually don't need to be the answer person. When somebody's new comes into the church and they've got this question, like, sometimes just journeying with them is the biggest thing that you can do. And the pressure that was released from me in that moment was so huge. And Tim from BibleProject does a good job of this. I love it that I've got access to him, but I'll come in and be like, oh, Tim, I was reading this thing. What in the world's going on here? And Tim will answer like this every time. He goes, oh, let's go learn that together. And those are powerful words to not go, yeah, let me teach you something. I got the answer, or, force it out, but to actually go on a journey. And I think if churches, and, I'm speaking for myself too, like the church that I'm a part of, if we can just be more comfortable with questions and ask for help. I don't know. I think we also are really bad at asking for help. And maybe I'll speak for myself, but I'm just horrible at asking for help. And if I realized sooner that it's just okay to pick up the phone and get in some of those communities and actually ask for help, then I wouldn't have spent years kind of trying to figure it out on my own. There's definitely a church that's gone before you, and definitely some that are going to come up after you. And so I feel like knowing that, like even in the organization, even with BibleProject, like some people are like, oh my gosh, you guys are so big. And I'm like, yeah, but Compassion's way bigger. So like any problem we're having, and we have this conversation internally all the time, and maybe you are with your church as well, where you think, gosh, no, but the problems we're having are really unique. I can almost promise you they're not unique. Like there are other organizations and other churches that have gone through the same struggles and the same problems. And so you don't need to figure that all out on your own. I feel like I'm always having to help the team be like, we do not need to keep rewriting the handbook. Like there are other companies and other organizations that have done this before us. And so ask for help. I think that's a big one for sure. And that takes a lot of humility. And we probably need a lot of that as well. So.